Good morning. Well, as Luke said, we're already back after 6 months. We had so many things happened in the last 6 months that we thought we had to come back. So just out of curiosity, who was there in November last time? Just you show of hand. Okay, quite a few of you guys. But thank you for coming back. I'm sure you won't be disappointed. We have really a lot of things to show you. Our CEO, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, said at the Build conference, he said it was an exciting time to be at a developer conference when there is a paradigm and platform shift in the air. And of course, he's talking about AI. So you'll see during this keynote, we will talk a lot about AI. We have plenty of things to show you, which are related to this AI revolution that is taking place right now. What you see here is a picture of a developer. He's probably writing some AL code. And he's sitting at his desk overlooking the city of Antwerp. If you know the city, you'll recognize some of the landmarks. And you might have guessed this picture is actually generated by AI. So this is a prompt I entered. Generate a photorealistic picture of a software developer at his desk. His desk overlooks the city of Antwerp. Through the windows, one can see some of the Antwerp landmarks. So if you haven't played with that kind of generative AI, it's a lot of fun. You can have a picture generated in all sorts of styles. I choose a photorealistic style, but you can pick, a Dutch impressionist style if that's what you want to do. But let's go back in time. Let's go back to April, where we actually Microsoft announced Dynamics 365 Copilot features across a broad range of Microsoft products. And actually, that was the world's first CRM and ERP products with generative AI. And it ranges from, Dynamics 365 Customer Insights, Dynamics Marketing, really, Dynamics Customer Service, and of course, Business Central. So we have, in all these products, we've introduced generative AI capabilities already back in April. And if you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen what we've done for Business Central, let me roll this short video for you.
As a small or medium-sized business, you know that great product descriptions boost sales by making products stand out from the crowd. But being creative on demand is challenging, especially when writing product descriptions for dozens or even hundreds of similar products. No one knows this better than Stan, the product manager at Nanoleaf. Nanoleaf is a pioneer of innovative smart home lighting solutions. It's an exciting time for the team as they're about to launch a new product line, but authoring engaging product descriptions for their online store takes time and creativity. Copilot in Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central helps successfully launch new products with AI-powered experiences right from where you manage your inventory. Stan wants to register their new product, the Nanoleaf Skylight, and starts by uploading a picture. Business Central analyzes the image and suggests a category to minimize data entry. After quickly customizing attributes and entering price and stock levels, Stan is ready to start copywriting so he can sell online. With just a click, Copilot uses natural language technology to craft an engaging description tailored to this product and enriched with key data from the record. Getting started with copywriting has never been easier. Let's see if we can improve this further. Stan can select precisely which of the product attributes are most relevant to describe the skylight, and also choose a format of generated text for consistency across the product line. Pretty good! Nanoleaf is all about innovation, and with a few more customizations, Stan can match their brand identity and tailor this to the target audience with a more upbeat tone of voice. And look at that! A creative catchphrase followed by an informative description that presents all the facts. After a quick review and a few edits of his own, Stan's text is ready for prime time. Nanoleaf uses Business Central's first-party connector to Shopify, a leading e-commerce platform, which means that Stan is just seconds away from publishing the Skylight to their web shop. And here it is, ready for you and I to purchase. Not only does Business Central accelerate time to market, but having a great product description that is engaging and informative also improves conversion rates. So stop typing and start selling with Copilot in Dynamics 365 Business Central.
Pretty cool, huh? So thank you. So this is the very first thing we've done with generative AI, but we're only getting started, and you'll see more of this during this keynote. So our vision for AI is to basically incorporate it everywhere. And the way we look at it is we look at it with actually 3 pillars. There's the immersive part of AI, which is very much like the feature you've seen on the video, where we incorporate AI within the product, really into the flow of the natural use of the product. Then there is a conversational aspect of AI, which is, if you're familiar with ChatGPT, that's the way you interact with AI using natural language with a prompt pane. So we'll have features with that as well, with that aspect of AI as well. And finally, there's a connected part where, with product like Business Central, we'll be able to leverage AI from other part of the ecosystem, from, for example, Dynamics, other Dynamics 365 product, Microsoft 365 being the Microsoft Graph, and even third-party apps. But before we get into the demos, and before we show you some of the things we've done in the product since we were there last time, I want to share some numbers on Business Central momentum, because never Business Central has had such a great momentum. We have customers, large and small, across the globe. We have a monthly active usage growth of 75% year over year. So that tells you something about how the product is growing. And these are examples of customers. We have so many different industries that also talk to the versatility of Business Central. Finally, the distribution of customers per country. I usually show that slide at the keynote. We have Business Central available now in 131 countries, and we are soon going to add 20 more countries. Our goal is to have Business Central available anywhere on the globe. And in case you're wondering, there are 195 countries in the world, so we're very close to have Business Central pretty much everywhere. And at last, I also wanted to share these numbers. We have 105% growth year over year of customers with more than 100 paid users, which also talks to the size of the installation and solution that Business Central can handle. And the average number of users per customer paid users is about 20 across all the customers we have on Business Central. What we have been saying before about our cloud offering is, I like to emphasize this every time I come at Tech Days, because I know you guys are technicians. I know you guys understand the complexity of technology. And I've said that before, but I'll say it again. Having your product in the cloud is really, really hard. There's a lot of complexity there. There's a lot of things that I need to take care of. Performance at scale. We have things like intelligent load balancing, dynamic scaling, and more. Security. As I'm sure you're aware, hackers are more and more, proficient, and they are better at doing what they do. So we need to be better and better at defending ourselves from attacks. And there's a lot of things we are doing to prevent them to do what they want to do, and to keep the data and the product safe. We also have procedures in place and all sorts of processes to ensure business continuity and disaster recovery. Should something happen, should the data center be hit by a tsunami or earthquake, we have procedures in place to minimize the downtime, and even some processes that can actually avoid any downtime at all. And finally, compliance. There's tons of compliance required in certain industries: ISO compliance, SOC compliance, HIPAA compliance, and Business Central is also compliant with a lot of these requirements. That was a lot of light. So what I want to say with that is, let us take care of these things. There's lots of complexity in delivering all that, and I think Microsoft is best positioned to take care of that part, so you don't have to worry about it, and you can take care of your business and your solution and do the things that you're good at. And let us take care of all these aspects of hosting a product in the cloud. Another great differentiator for Business Central is that we're part of a very large family. We have integrations with Microsoft 365 and with the Power Platform. And as you'll see, the Microsoft Dynamics 365 Copilot technology is going to be prevalent on all these products, including Business Central. And to talk more about how Microsoft plays with the rest of the products and the family, I'd like to invite Evgenij on stage. Sorry, my clicker stopped working. And my clicker stopped working. Okay.
Does it?
No, I can't think it works.
Okay. Thank you, Vincent. Semester after semester, we continue to bring a lot of innovation actually across all integrations and work we do. So you guys can build like a value across Microsoft products, which has worked great with the BC. Now, to start with that, I'll show you a first demo of one of our favorite productivity feature, which has kind of funny story. 6 months ago, Vincent, in our favorite, from a lab section, show you an innovation or inspiration, something we've been working on, basically on a much better, pleasant way to work with the data. And we're very happy to announce that we get this capability in the product right now. So I'm going to navigate to the customer ledger entries, like a classical, like a heavy table with a lot of transactions. And I'm going to enable analyze data mode, which give me like a beautiful, in no time grid where I can go ahead and analyze my data. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to enable a pivot mode, and in a couple of changes, which will hopefully make sense to you in a second, I can start doing pretty powerful data analysis. So let's say I want to understand how we're doing with sales for a given customers. Maybe I'll start with a group, I'll bring some customer names, and obviously I want to look on amounts, on the real money. If you think about those classical analysis you do, you always look on a kind of data period. And one is the beautiful thing, we can help you with that. If you start looking on dates, we can build this like a date hierarchies. So you don't need to spend time to dig data to Excel and build your data hierarchies. You can say, okay, I would like to see my data on a given months, on a quarters, on a years. And again, just like a small things, but make the experience and data analysis super pleasant. Now, let's continue our research. Maybe I want to bring document number and, not number, maybe just a type, then a number. So now I can say, I can obviously filter it. So for that customer group, here is all the invoices. And if I look on those cells, I can also get a lot of intelligence, can summarize those data on the fly. Now, if I get disrupted through my day, I can always come back when I've been, and obviously will save so your work is not lost. If that data analysis is not good enough for you, you can always go ahead, export data to Excel and take it to the next level. And finally, we are in 2023, just to remind you that, when you want to save your data analysis to share with your colleagues and so on and so forth, you can always use some, like a modern Microsoft naming, it's a very modern product. Now, you can tell me, why would on earth I'll show the development community productivity feature? But the truth is, because finally, we have an amazing tool to your consultants, to your end users, so we as a community can spend less time, develop custom reports, and use this time to build something more creative. And I would suggest where you can use this time and energy maybe to build something more. For example, we might consider to start looking how to build more and more powerful automations within Business Central. So with that, we're going back to demos. In this release, if I'll navigate to the customer card, let's take a simple example. I can go to Power Automate menu, and I can start create automations right through the product. Now, I'm going to create a new flow, and what's new in this release, we give you the ability to get started very, very beautiful templates. It's the same templates how you build your apps across Microsoft 365, like in Microsoft Teams and so forth. So in this case, I want to have an automation which will be able to block my customer and notify someone about those changes. I can go ahead and select a template. It's really easy to use. You just need to give it a name, demo flow. Then you need to press next. I zoom it a bit so you can see it better, but it's not really much here to show you. And the only mandatory thing we ask you to do, who needs to be notified, in this case, we can say, I want to notify some kind of my colleagues. Obviously, it's a demo data, but you can notify real people, and that's all. So it took me a couple of clicks to create a full automation from a product and get started with that. So let's go ahead and see the flow we created and play around with it. So you see how it looks. And I'll zoom a bit so we can see that. When it loaded. Yeah, OK. So in a couple of clicks, we created this template. And it's like a very basic template. You're saying, for a given selected customer, you retrieve a record, you can block it, and then you send some notification that, that action has happened. So now I'm going to modify this flow quickly. And you'll get understanding very quickly what I'm doing. So, so what I want to achieve, I want to modify our template a bit and change what it does quickly. So for this one, I'm going to add another, how I call them, Lego blocks. Maybe have a beta analogy. I want to say, I want to get adaptive card. And for this one, the only thing I need to do, I need to pass a URL to the entity or the customer record, which is involved in this flow. It should be applicable for Teams. And then I'm going to get another step, which is basically, we'll take this adaptive card. So we want to notify in a team channel where all our collaboration colleagues that something, that customer will be blocked. And you can do it in a couple of clicks. So we'll select a team. I mean, it doesn't really matter much. And we will pass our adaptive card, which came from previous record. So I did a very small adjustment to the flow. So now when we run this flow, it will notify in a team. So if I'm on a phone, I can go ahead and see that something has happened. Now, if I go back to product, if I'll go to my automate menu, I can automatically see and discover that new flow, which is applicable for me now in a client. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to personalize my page, because it's a little bit hard to find that menu time to time. So what I can do, I can go ahead and move this action somewhere. Where could I move it? Apparently not that much, which is shame, because I know I can. Why would I move it in reports? Let's just, I don't know, move it here. And we're done. So what I just did, I just basically promote an action to my menu structure. And in fact, I can go ahead and build all the menu structure from my flows, and from an end user, if he or she clicks a button and magic happens, or clicks that action, completely irrelevant. So you as a developers can build a lot of automation through IL code, bring with your extension, and reach capabilities of the product with almost no time. Okay, so now I'm going to run a flow, which we just created. So we just click a button. It will bring us kind of very nice experience on the right side, which first time asking me for some stuff, we'll skip it. And now basically saying, I want to block that customer, let's say, for that purpose. Again, we can put some comments. I don't know why we blocked him. And we can just run a flow. So now in the background, some logic will run. And obviously, it's an example. You can build significantly complicated logic, real life what should happen. So if I'll just go ahead and go back, yeah, you see the customer was updated, notification was shown, and so on and so forth. And if I go to my team channel somewhere, so maybe I can do like this. I can just show you that this adaptive card was posted to the team channel, so now all my colleagues are notified that order is delayed. That customer case is escalated. That customer was blocked. So it's super, super easy to know what's going on. Yeah, I'm not really sure where I posted. Yeah, never mind. You got the idea. You got notification right away, and then you can obviously go ahead and take a look. What was this change about, and so on and so forth. Now, you can say, Evgenij, why would you care about teams and adaptive cards? Which is a reasonable question. And actually, you should a lot, because what we announced 6 months ago in November, that if you have Microsoft 365 license, and many of your customers do that because they have PowerPoint, Word, Teams, we allow you a free read-only access to the data through Microsoft Teams. So you have a customer, 100 employees, 3 of them use Business Central, 97% never heard, doesn't care. Now you can bring all those people through Teams so they can go ahead and collaborate on the business data and unlock a lot of value from a product and organization right away. It's a great cost saving in the current time, just great capabilities to bring data to conversation. So what do I really mean by that? I'm Johnny. I can work in a warehouse or customer support. I don't have access to Business Central. I don't have Business Central license. Actually, never heard about this Business Central before. But my colleagues just notify me on the team channel that this order is delayed. This customer gets escalated. This customer is blocked. So now, if I'm in Microsoft Teams, I can go ahead, look at adaptive cards, press the details button, and suddenly I can get access to business data. So in this case, I can go ahead, I can see the customer record. Maybe I can go ahead and copy his email and then do the work I need to do, or I can look at this delayed order, copy reference number, and use in my internal system. So now we can bring much more people to collaboration, and now he or she will say, hey, maybe I also want to get access to Business Central. Now we get our more licenses, and that's how we grow our average customer per tenant, the data which Vincent showed you just before. Really, really, really cool stuff. All right. I show you how you can build automations where someone presses a button in the product and something has happened, but in real life, you have an invoice, it's sent, 2 weeks later, it's not paid, nothing has happened, but now it's overdue. So how do we automate those type of events? Or you have a bad job running at night, some alerting happening, how do we react on that? And today, we are very happy to announce we're introducing something called external business events. Basically, it's a state-of-art technology which allows us to describe when something has happened, and then we can build a lot of automation to react on that. We're giving you a very simple IL structure or language support to describe and build those events. As a Microsoft, we give you obviously a lot of events out of box, so you can go ahead and build your automations. You can use them for automations, you can use them for integration. There is no bad jobs involved, they're instant, just great stuff. To show you them in action, we go back to our presentation. So here's an example how we can build automation for a business event. So we have a new action in Power Automate called when a business event occurs, straightforward. You can go ahead and discover all the business events available for your environment. As an ISV, I can go ahead and build my own events. So basically say when the customer is blocked for a given company, and then I want to act. And we provide you a lot of dynamics content. So we know, when that event has happened, we can pass the data, and basically it's all available to you. So now you can go ahead and build much more automation across Microsoft ecosystem when something has happened in your ERP, and this is just great. Every time I walk here, I'm switching views. All right, so we don't need to build custom reporting now. We can take a look how to build more automation, or we can take a look how we can build more connected Power Apps. And why would it be a good idea? To show you that, imagine the following scenario. We show that scenario over recent Direction conferences, but I think it's just great and make a lot of sense. So imagine we are the company who doing maintenance of coffee machines. When back home in Copenhagen, our coffee machines are down, people have a lot of emotions about it. So I'm on a call with a customer who tell me that, can someone please come and get this coffee machine work again? So again, I'm on a product, I can run automation, say, sure, no problem, we can make it happen. I'm running an integration to like a world-class booking systems right from Business Central. We will schedule that someone will come to you. We can send Evgenij. He will come tomorrow, on a given slot, and so on and so forth. So now I can press a button. I'll be notified on my booking system, on my email, on my calendar, on my phone, and so on and so forth, like straightforward. Now, fast forward, let's say it's tomorrow, and it's me who's visiting a customer site. Now, in the real world, I'll have a phone. And let's say before I can replace a coffee machine, I need to measure some distance and make some suggestions. In the real world, I will carry my phone, but it was unbelievably hard to connect phone to this great place today. So instead, we're going to use iPad. But we don't carry iPad. Maybe someone carry iPad. I carry a phone. So in that scenario, and I have a long cable, so let's say we have a broken coffee machine, and first thing I need to do, I need to understand how much space we have on this shell or on this place. And it's a little bit hard when it's dark, but let's say here is all the space available where we can put a new coffee machine. I don't know. Looks like a good space. Okay? So now, as I'm going to submit the data in this Power App, I can go ahead and modify what is the dimensions, and then I'm going to search data back in Business Central. What is the coffee machines available to be able to replace? And by the way, all these images AI generated. That's why they look a little bit as AI generated images. However, so let's say this beautiful coffee machine will fit this cabinet or wherever we have. What you can also do, which is pretty legit, like if I have a 3D model of the coffee machine, I can go ahead, I can put it here. I can ask you guys to wave a bit. Wave, you use your hands like this. It's not that hard. It's not that hard, trust me. I can take a picture, and let's say we like this coffee machine. We can also, upsell the scaling solution. We can say, yeah, you need this, you need this. We can review an order. By the way, all the prices is also AI generated, so actually they're also legit and real. And you can go ahead and submit your order back to Business Central. So we came to the customer visit site, we did some stuff, we collect some data, and we go back home. Let's see how it looks in the Business Central. It's not done yet. Let's see. We'll come to that. I still have time for demos. So I'm just going to the sales orders, and I want to show you that it's all real. It's not like some kind of fake demos or anything like that. So here's the real sales order, which has all the lines we created. It has picture which just did attached, yeah, and so on and so forth. It's obviously not the best quality, and you will use it on your phone, but you got the idea. So you can build pretty amazing Power Apps to get this final mile of technology. It's not about just app, it's about extension to Power Data integration, just a lot of great stuff. And you can also bring to your ISV solutions as a package. Now, we're also happy to announce more things today. We're announcing that as a Microsoft, we're shipping a number of Power App samples available for you as a community. It's just great. I show you one app out of 3, another are even better and awesome. We put a lot of craft and love in the designs. They will work out of box for your pre-sales. Go ahead, install those apps, copy the code. They build specifically for you to show you how to do stuff, how you can build Power Apps, how you can load images, how you can filter your data, how you can create orders, how you create demo data to power your demos. Yeah, just use the part of your pre-sales, use the part of your development. Just great stuff. And by the way, how real is that? So this is a picture from my kitchen back in Copenhagen. And I don't know, but for some people, it takes some time to figure out what's real, what's not. So it's quite legit, quite legit. Yeah, I know, it's good. OK. Let's switch another topic. So let's say we have time not to build reports. We can look on the Power Automation. We can look on Power Apps. Where else can you explore to build some innovative stuff? Vincent just showed you the vision about AI, that we believe AI will be everywhere, from a immersive in product, like our product description, to conversational scenarios and more integrations. And today, we're also very happy to announce that we give your community samples, tutorials, and code examples you can start on your generative AI journey with Business Central and Microsoft. We have some announcement which go live today. But basically, we give you a starting toolkit and samples to start on your generative AI journey. And I'll show you in a second how it looks. So I'm going back to the product. So what would we do now? So first of all, as a part of those samples, we give you an extension. So if you go to extension and there is a Azure OpenAI sample, you can go ahead and download your extension on your sandbox. Once you do it, the only thing you need to do, you need to configure it once. You need to bring some setup Azure OpenAI key. We'll talk about that. So you go here. What has happened? Yeah, actually, you need to bring a key, then we get you up and running, and that's all you need to do. So we give an extension. If you want to play around with it, you bring one key, you press one button, you're good. And once you have it, you can go ahead and start coding and build a lot of AI integration to generative AI. So just to give an example, how could it look like? I'm going to item card, and here I have a product, which is a chair, I guess. And let's say I need to figure out what is the item category for this product. I can probably search, I can look at description, I can understand all that, or I can ask our AI, say, hey, why wouldn't you suggest an item category for me? And what's happening right now, we talk to large language models, we feed a lot of data, it's trying to give us the best choice, and then we can go ahead and default back to the product. So it's just an example of AI integration you can bring to your extension with no time with the toolkits we're giving you, like in line with our like a classic marketing text integration, which we show you a video about. As of now, you cannot bring this beautiful flare or shining effect in UI, but you can use this icon, which will indicate its AI feature, and we think you should be up and running with your experiments with that in no time. Okay. So now I would like to invite Steffen on stage, who will show us how you can build and code some of those innovations. Thank you.
So thank you, Evgenij. It's great to see code on a big screen. I love code on a big screen. We all spend a lot of our time in Visual Studio Code. And in the recent releases, the developer tools team in Business Central have invested a lot in your productivity. So let's talk about that. Some of you might remember the AL Explorer from the last time we were here, when Vincent presented again from the labs. And this is now yet another thing that has come to completion. With AL Explorer, we bring an exciting new visual way of looking at code, a way where you can explore, navigate, inspect objects and extensibilities without having to search through code. This increases the productivity when you're investigating an area, when you're looking at what options you have, authoring code, as well as when you're troubleshooting. Improvements in the code analyzer, if I can get it up there we go. In the code analyzer experience enables you to only run analysis on the active file that you're looking at and working on. And with the Analyzer Performance Insights, you now have data-driven insights into where and when you want to run the different rules in your solution. You can also share your rule set now across multiple projects and workspaces, so you can align what's enabled and disabled for your solutions. The added debugger attached scenario gives you the ability to not have to reproduce the issues on your own sessions, but actually just attach to other users' sessions, even web service sessions, and even service-to-service calls where there's no user involved. If you need to do debugging on production environments, you can still rely on the snapshot debugger, and now you can use the same way of attaching and waiting for a session or attaching to an existing session. Okay. Based on your ideas and the feedback you've given us, we've invested even more in improving your productivity. This includes simple things like adding the company name in the launch config so you don't have to pre-configure a profile before you have to debug. It also includes some improved navigability, some additional insights into variables, and it could be like the temporary one where you don't have the definition in view, and now you can see where it is. Yeah. Continue to share your ideas on BC Ideas, giving us more data on what we need to improve and what we need to prioritize. For this special Tech Days event, we've created a survey. Take this link and save it, and give us your feedback, what's important for you, and what is it that we need to prioritize in order to help you be productive. Come see our sessions on what's new in AL and the overview of debugging and navigation to learn more about some of the improvements we've made. Okay, but we need to see some stuff, right? We need to see some stuff. So let's go over here. Press this one. Okay, let's start at AL Home. AL Home, see? There we go. Okay, AL Home is the place for developer news. This is the place where we'll publish interesting articles about developing for Business Central. As you can see here, Evgenij just talked about Azure OpenAI. Here you can go and read about how to get started, and there's a nice link to the example that Evgenij just talked about. Really nice. Let's talk about the AL Explorer again. Here it is. The AL Explorer gives me an overview of all the objects that are in scope of my solution. This includes the objects in my project, the objects in my workspace, the objects in my dependencies, so I can go and easily navigate. I can filter this down by looking at events I could perhaps subscribe to an event directly. It's in my clipboard now. I can paste it into my code. I can look at APIs, maybe go investigate the layout of an API. Here we go. I can even look at what's the extendable enums I can use to implement a specific feature, like onboarding, for example. Before, when I needed to think about sales and do something in sales, I needed to maybe search online, find a piece in our code that had something to do with sales, or maybe just declare a variable and try and figure out what objects are there in sales. Today, I can just go and say, sales, and I'll get the whole thing filtered to this. Maybe that's not enough. I could group by the type, so I can find that page I want to extend that has something to do with sales, or maybe that table I need to extend that has something to do with sales. I can also group by path. By path, I can get into a view where we've grouped things that are related. For example, sales and receivables. And here I can find things that has to do with sales in the group of sales and receivables. So maybe I can discover more than I would if I just declared a variable called sales order, right? I can also filter even more and say I want only to look at the ones that are in my current project, in my workspace, or in one of the dependencies I have. For now, I want to continue on a project that I've been working on earlier. So I'll go and check the bookmarks one here. And here I have a sales order. Actually, it's a sales order extension. And it has an action in it. It wants to add a promotion item for when you buy one of Evgenij's coffee machines. You want to give them a little extra, maybe I don't know, some coffee, perhaps. But first, I need to do something else. I need to go and move an action that was misplaced on the customer card, on my customer card extension. So I'll go back to AL Explorer, and I'll just do customer here. Oh, it's not bookmarked, so I'll just find the ones from my project. I'll bookmark it for later, so I can come back to it, and then let's go look at it. Here we have an action. It's a custom action, and it's exactly what Evgenij just showed, a flow action, where you can invoke a flow when you click this action. Now, this is not created in the client. This is created by code, so it looks and feels like any other action. And I'm just going to copy this or cut it out of this one and put it into my sales order extension. Here we go. Looks good, but there's an error here. Oh, yeah, we like errors, right? So custom actions require us to use the modern action bar syntax in order for us to use custom actions. Luckily, we have a quick fix for that, so I need to go here and convert my existing action to the new syntax, and I can do that by using this code action. This code action allows me to convert the syntax, either this one instance, all the instances in the document, in the project, or even in the workspace. Makes it much simpler to convert. Let's just do this instance. And 1, 2, 3, we're done. It compiles and everybody's happy. Great. Let's do some coding. Everybody likes coding on stage live, right? Let's see. Okay. In this Visual Studio instance, I have an extra extension installed. And it's called, see if I can find it. There you go. GitHub Copilot. Many of you might have heard about this one. So I'm going to try and show you how it works. My GitHub Copilot claims to be an AI pair programmer, so I have huge expectations of it. With GitHub Copilot comes some commands, and we can find them just by writing GitHub here. Copilot, here you go. So you can see there are some shortcuts in getting suggestions and figuring out what suggestions there are available and so forth. But let's just start coding. Let's do something here. Let's do a new line here. 1, 2, 3. Copilot tells me I need to add a line here. This is an action that adds a promotion item. The adding of a promotion item is missing in this code here. It talks to a promotion manager I've declared already, and it calls the function add promotion item. Looks good. Passes in the current record, which is the sales header, and the category I've selected up here. Yeah, looks fine. Oh, what's this? Oh, so there is no function called add promotion item. So it worked, but maybe not really. Let's go and look at this code here. Let's see. Go to definition. Here we go. Let's get some more real estate here. Okay. So this code unit has an external business event as one of the first things. This is what Evgenij was talking about, an ability for us to raise events that are visible outside of Business Central, giving us the option to react to it in the Power Platform, Power Apps, Power Flows, and so forth. This one is about items being out of stock. Sounds like a good thing, yeah. We need to do something else, but let's try and add a few lines here and see what happens. Right off the bat here, Copilot suggests me that I should add another external event here for promotion item added. Sounds right, so let's do that. Oh yeah, we need to write the procedure also. Promotion category, promotion, yeah, it looks fine. Yeah, and of course the method itself. Wait, did I just write a whole external business event without writing any code? Is GitHub Copilot really that good? Well, we just saw in the action, maybe not always, and maybe not with everything, but if I give it the right context, if I give it examples like this one, I've given it an external business event and shown it how it's supposed to be done, then it can help me with the next thing I need to do. Okay, let's take a look here. So what else do we have here? We have some kind of test whether there is a promotion item. We have some kind of function that finds some kind of promotion item by category. And we have, oh, here we go. We have something that adds a promotion message to my sales line, or changes the description of the sales line by using this new open AI API that Evgenij was talking about. Really nice. And it tries to write an expiring message about a free gift for a customer living in a certain country. That sounds like a really cool thing. We should actually use that. Okay, let's see if we can write this code. So we've already learned that for GitHub Copilot to be effective, it needs context. The more context we give it, the better it is. It'll give me better suggestions if I give it more context. And what better context is there than a comment? So let's write some comments. Yep, I want to write a summary. That's perhaps not what I want, but I want the first part. And then I want to say, add a promotion item, yes. To a sales order, yeah, but in Business Central we do sales lines, and we want a new sales line. New sales line, yes. On a sales order, yeah. But there are some rules, so we need to do those also. If the customer is eligible, yeah, that sounds like a good thing, but that's not what we wanted. If the item is in stock, because we had an out of stock thing, so we want to make sure it's in stock, yeah. And what else? The sales order does not already have a promotion item. Oh, it knows what I want to do. That's really nice. Let's do that. Let's finish that. It can even help me document parameters for my function. I'm just going to skip that as a good developer, right? Okay. So here it's suggesting me to add promotion item to sales order. It sounds right, but that was not the function we had in the other code unit. So let's try and change this. Just change it to add promotion item. All right, it recognized that I was doing some change, and now it wants me to add a sales header record. Yes, that was what we added, so that's fine, we'll keep that. But we didn't do the item and quantity, so we want to have this category. Yes, this category. That's the one. All done. It wants to add some variables. And where does it get all this information from? Well, it looked at this code unit here, and we had the different functions there. We need a sales line. Yes, there's a new sales line. We need an item. Yes, we need to add an item. We need to has promotion item. Oh, that's here. So it found this one. That seems logical. And there's also this one over here. Okay, so let's just use that. Now we write some code, super easy. Then now it's thinking. Sometimes GitHub Copilot needs a little time to think because I'm doing some very complicated stuff. So what's it suggesting? It's suggesting that we say something like, if not sales header has promotion items, exit. Something double negative here somewhere? Almost. Let's just not use the not. Yeah. And there we go. So what's wrong here? Oh, this was actually not a variable. This was return value. So it doesn't know AL that well, but it's still helping me a lot here. So if there's no promotion items, then we can continue. Then the next thing we need to do is, well, not that, but I need to find that item. Let's see. Oh, here we go. If we can't find anything, we just exit. Well, that's good. So now we have an item. Okay. Is in stock. That's not how we do it in Business Central, is it? No, it's not. We do if item dot inventory, right? Right. Oh, yeah, I needed to remember to use that event. Oh, there we go. But actually, I know about Business Central also, so there's something called calc field. And I need to do that, otherwise I won't get that. Inventory, yes. So it doesn't know everything about Business Central, but this is really good, really, really good. Okay. So now we need to add that. Yes, we could do init. Yes, we can do document type. Yes, we can do this one. There's actually a function in Business Central. We can do init news line. Yeah, there we go. Sales. There we go. That's good. Is item, no, what's the name? Oh, it's sales line dot add item. There we go. Sales line item. See, I'm super fast coder here. Okay, now we have the item set up. We need to set the quantity. Yeah, and how many do we want? We want one, yes. And then we need to set the sales line dot, what is it, line discount. There you go. How much? 100%, of course. Yes, it has to be free. Right? Okay. No more categories here. We don't want that. Oh, yeah, we needed this AI thing. So obviously we need to use that one. And then what? Yeah, we need to do... Oh, yes, we need to do that one also. Oops. Let me get that back. Yeah, there we go. And then we need to save it. So we do sales line... Not insert, but modify. Yeah. There we go, because it's already inserted. And end. So, maybe not the best example, but it shows you some of the power that GitHub Copilot has. It may not know all of the syntax and all of the quirks and knowledge you need to do to have a great code in Business Central, but it will help you. The key here is giving it context will help you build the things you need to build. And as you develop, it will help you with the next thing that you need to do. And it will keep adapting every time that you change the work that you do or change the code that you actually use. Okay, let's go back to presentation here. We should commit our code, right? So I'm just going to save it here, and then I'm going to commit it. There we go. And then, of course, I am using ALGO for GitHub, obviously. So ALGO for GitHub is my one-stop shop for everything to do with DevOps. It's my repository, it's my source control for tracking issues, it's for doing pull requests and all these things. All I had to do was go and sign up here in ALGO for PTE or ALGO App Source, and I have everything working for me. It's really easy and nice. With the built-in CI/CD pipelines, I can also easily publish everything to my environments as I need it. Today, I'm happy to also announce that we now have ALGO for GitHub and Power Platform in preview. As of today, you can have a single repository for all your AL and your Power Platform artifacts. With this additional support in ALGO for GitHub, you get a unified solution for management and deployment of your apps, of both your AL extension and your Power Platform solutions. Check out the preview, and be sure to visit the session here at TechDays on introducing flexible Power Apps solutions and Business Central, right? Check it out. Okay, let's have a look at how that would look. So we go back here. I have a pipeline here. Not there, but there. So this is just a normal pipeline. As you can see, it's part of a CI/CD. And it has a step here called deploy to Steffen, right? So it's my environment. I can see here that it's deployed my AL solution as part of this pipeline. And I can see it also deployed my Power Platform solution here. As you can see, there's an artifact here getting published. So now I can publish everything in one go. It's really simple to use. Okay. And then I need to go back to this guy. Okay, everything is running in production. So that leads me to telemetry. Of course it leads me to telemetry. We need to understand how things run, and we need to find improvements so we can make it the best experience for our customers. So the natural question here is, why not use AI, right? That's what we're talking about. Why not use AI on telemetry data to understand performance better? Well, today, also, you can get data-driven AI insights in the Business Central Power BI template that is being released today. We've added a few controls that uses AI to generate insights into the data. So we can call it the Copilot for performance, yes, maybe. It's a bit of a stretch, but okay. So let's go and see this. It's much more fun to see what's actually going on. And here we go. So here's my Power BI dashboard. And this is the new AI controls that you'll see in here. There are 3. Let's start from the top. Here is a summary where AI looks at the data and tries to give me insights in a narrative way on what's going on. Something here is telling me that there's some app that contributes to an average load time, and it's the BC TechDays 1, and it's increased by 9.22. That's interesting. That's interesting. I can use this control here, the key influences, to look at what increases or decreases load time. Now I'm going to look at increases. Yes, there is something around this app called BC TechDays. Here it says 9.19 seconds is the contribution. If I look over here, I can see it compared to the average of other apps. And yes, the BC TechDays is in the high end. So that's interesting. I can also see that there's a story around version 42. So that's something we need to look at. Did we have a regression in version 42? Okay. Too much data. Let's try again. Okay, here we go. So try again. Okay, so in version 2, did we have a regression? And looking at this, and looking at the average over here, we can see that actually in version 42, we did have a serious regression here. So I can already now, without looking at numbers and a lot of data, I can go and look and find some key points to talk to my engineering team about. I can go back to them right now and tell them, you need to look at version 42 of the BC TechDays 1 app. And maybe you'll find why we have a regression. But I can also analyze the root causes, and that's where we get to the third component here. So let's go and look at some of the contributors. We can look at apps, and we can see that there is something with the BC TechDays 1. We can look at the high-value contributors here. Oh, somebody's using Firefox. That's interesting. Okay, let's have a look-see what's going on here. We can see contributors to that. Okay, so that's really interesting. So now we know that when somebody is looking at the Business Manager Role Center in Firefox, then we have a performance regression. Already now, the team can go back and actually do some testing. They know what to test, the Business Manager Role Center. They know what version to test, it's version 42, and they even know what configuration they need to test it in, the Firefox scenario. That may not be the only contributor to poor performance, but at least it gives us insights into where to start and how to get to it. I can even click one of these pages and then go through some of the other data that we have already in the existing report. I can look at the other browsers, I can look at the time of day it's used and so forth. And if I'm not really done analyzing this, I can even go down here and copy the Custo query to do even more analysis on my own. Okay. Let's go back to this guy. So go and try it out yourselves. See if there are insights in your environments where AI can help you drive your investigations. Take a look at some of the samples that we provided to do AI, or to look at GitHub, ALGO for GitHub, and shipping the Power Apps together with ALGO. Good. So little time, so much data to look at. We need to reset here and invite Vincent back on stage to talk about the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steffen. Thanks, Steffen. So you've seen a lot of cool stuff going on with AI, and Steffen showed you how you can use GitHub Copilot with AI. And if you know a little bit about these large language model, you know that they have been trained, language models like GitHub Copilot, they've been trained on what they can find on the internet. And if you happen to program in other languages, obviously there are some languages where there's a lot more presence on the internet than AL. There's some languages like JavaScript, for example, or TypeScript have a lot more. There's a lot more out there, which means that these languages have a lot more to train on. So, but still, it still understands languages and it still understands AL, and as Steffen showed you, it can do a lot of things already. But the more, what I'm saying here is that the more AL there will be out there, the more AL there will be on GitHub, the better GitHub Copilot will become. So it's a kind of, get the hint. If you want to, use AL, go for GitHub, put your stuff out there, and also, help us with our open source initiative. And I'm going to talk about that now. I just need to get this going again. Okay. You had some slides here, Steffen? Yeah. Wrong directions. Yeah, sorry. Thanks. All right. Here we go. Let's get back to so our base app contribution pilot. So The goal with this initiative was to align BCID features voting with GitHub contribution, and we run that pilot to take pull requests against the base application. And so how is it going with this? We have been having 188 issues created in the pilot repository, and out of these, we have processed 105 of these issues. And we have also had 75 BCIDs we got approved for open development. And out of these, we processed 13. And we've completed actually 13 of these. And finally, this all added up to 90, around 90 merge pull requests towards the base app. So thank you very much for supporting this initiative. Thanks to you, I know that some of you are in the room who have contributed to that, and we, this is more than what we dreamed of. So thank you, and keep up the good work. So what's next? What's next with this with this contribution pilot? So we're not going full open source quite yet, and there's some reasons for that. First of all, we want to make it scale. We're still looking at how to take these requests and how to process them properly. So we are refining the process. We don't want to have too much bottleneck around this, and there's nothing worse than an open source project that goes stale and where there's no activity. So we want to make sure that we got the proper level of activity around this, and we got enough bandwidth to manage a truly open source project. And we also want to ensure that it's a win-win for you as a community. It's not about getting you to write the code and we just take it and just run with it. The idea is to you put some things there that benefits you and the rest of the community. So we're still working around these things and trying to figure out what's the best way to scale this project. But we're getting there. Our system application, we are moving it to Elgo for GitHub, and we announced this, I think, last time at last TechDays, and so it takes a little more than 6 months to get there, but we're getting there, and we are on target, and we'll be fully open source with this on the 2023 release Wave 2. And of course, we want to implement the old CI/CD process in our repository, and also Elgo for GitHub. We need all the, we know all the bells and whistles for that repo, as obviously. And again, we're still working with refining the process around the development, because we want to take it actually a step further. We want to open up also our backlog for the open source community. So not only the code, but also the entire process. That's some of the things we're thinking of. So you don't have to wait for these initiatives to go fully open source. You can already contribute now, and there are some links there. Go and check it out. You can always, already today, you can contribute to these initiatives. And if you want to learn more about it, there is a session today at 4 p.m. I believe with Jesper and Christoph. They're going to talk about the system app and how to develop with less line of code, and to develop more with less line of code. So if you're interested to hear more about these things, attend that session. So now I'm going to jump into, now we're talking about a base app and the open source initiative. But if you recall, a while ago, we announced that we were going into a phase where we will start taking a closer look at our base app and do some modernization of it. So back in 2018, actually, that was when we announced that. And Boxy was here on stage, and we started on this journey. And you see, these are the slides we had for the keynote back then, where we talked about modernizing the application code. And what we've done, what we announced back then, we were going to start with at the bottom and have a system layer and a foundation layer. So the system layer is there, as you know, we already got there. And of course, the next step is the application foundation. So what I'm saying here, notice that the things we announced in 2018, they are actually became true. So when you come at this conference, you better pay attention to what we say, because we actually do what we say we'll do. So we are working on the next layer, which is the business foundation layer. And the idea with these two layers was that the system layer was everything that you would need to write code, but which has nothing to do with the RP. So it's things like, if you look at what's in the system layer today, we have things like HTTP client, Azure Key Vault SDK. So these are things you need, but actually are not related to ERP. The next layer, which is the foundation layer, the idea with this layer is the criteria for it is to have things that you do need for ERP, but which don't pertain a certain area of ERP. So they don't relate to, say, finance or supply chain management. And it will be things like number series, maybe job queue management, this kind of thing. We'll start with we start with I think the number series. That will be the first thing we'll have there. And this is some ideas we have on how we could what kind of modules we could have in the foundation layer. But it's not quite decided yet. But just to give you an idea of the kind of thing that could end up there. So as I mentioned, the next thing we'll have will be number series management. That will be the first thing we will put in the business foundation layer. So look forward to that. So additionally, we are doing more things to modernize our base application. So the rest of the base application, what's on top of the system app and the foundation app. And what we'll start by doing is adding some structure to it and defining an application hierarchy, as you can see on that slide. So at the bottom, again, there is the system application and the business application. And then we have started categorizing the rest of the objects into folders, actually. So we actually moved all these objects into a series of folders to get some more structure in the application. And as Steffen showed you before, you will be able to use the EL Explorer to navigate that folder structure as well. So additionally to the discoverability features like searching on names or sorting by categories, you'll have the ability to use the folder structure as well as a guide to find your way around the code. And we expect that to be especially valuable for somebody who is new to the Business Central and need to understand the base app and find out how, where the different objects are and how this whole thing works. And not only is going to be represented, the structure is going to be represented in the folder structure, but it's also going to be represented in namespaces. So, what I did I say just namespaces? Yes, I did. Thank you. So, this is my segue to the From the Lab section, where I'm going to show you some of the things which, I usually start this section with a disclaimer and saying that in this section we show you things that might or might not make it to the product, but I'm pretty sure that namespaces is going to make it to the product. So, but it's not in the product yet, so therefore it's in the From the Lab. But let me switch back to my demo here. Okay, so I have a code unit here, and let's assume I want to write some code to convert XYZ coordinates to latitude and longitude. I've prepared the code here. I have some comments that show the formula to do that. And as you see, the first formula for the latitude is using some arcsinus, and it's like the Z coordinate divided by the Earth radius. I don't know the Earth radius, but see, actually, GitHub Copilot does know that. So it also can help me with this kind of information, not only writing code. So that's pretty cool as well. So let me just write this. Yeah, that's fine. You know, again, I'm using GitHub Copilot. And yeah, that looks pretty okay. There's some errors there. So I'll need to add some math code unit. I know we have the, you know, the code unit math that can, yeah, exactly, that will give me the formula I need. Yeah, var, thank you. Yeah, I had somebody from from the first row. So anyway, it's good. I mean, Copilot together with people from the audience, that's just great. Well, so as you know, as Steffen mentioned before, it can help, but sometimes it gets it wrong. You know, in that case, this is not the name of the function. It's called asyn in Business Central. So we'll use that. All right, I'm good with that. I think I should be good with that. Yeah, I need some parentheses as well. All right. Okay, all good. So let's try the other one. Yeah, okay, I'll get that. And see here, it's becoming a little more intelligent. As Steffen mentioned before, it's getting some context for what I wrote already. So it's proposing to add the math code unit because I've added it before. So it's thinking, okay, maybe you will need it again, which is true. So begin here, I get that. Okay, that looks all great. So I didn't have to write anything here. Copilot did it for me. And finally, so this is what does it have to do with namespace? Nothing so far. But I want to give this code unit a good name. I'll call it geolocation. But notice what's happening here. I'm getting some squigglies. And why is that? It's because this code unit name is already in use in the Microsoft system application. So I got a name clash here, which is why we so far have recommended you use prefixing in your extension to avoid this kind of name clash. So, but that's where namespace can come to the rescue, and I will simply namespace my code unit here and give it, you know, the name of my company here, which is called incidentally my company. And that's it. So what happens there is now all the names I'm going to use in that particular file are going to belong to the namespace my company, and therefore they're not clashing anymore with the geolocation name from the system app. So doing that, you'll be able to reuse some of the names that Microsoft is using or some of the extension that are your dependency chain are using. But notice there, I got some new squigglies down there on the code unit math. And it's all of a sudden it says that it doesn't find the code unit math. And why is that? So that's because before, if you don't use namespacing, as long as you're not using it, everything that you depend on will end up in a global namespace. So you don't need to fully qualify the names of the things you are referencing. But in my extension here, I'm referencing our system app, the Microsoft system app, and we did add namespace in the Microsoft system app. So from the moment you start using namespacing, you will have also to fully qualify the name of the things you reference. But to help you, we actually had a quick fix here. And you can see here, I can either fully qualify the name, which is system.utilities.math in that instance, or I can add a using at the top of my file. And so let's try that. And you see all the squigglies disappear, and my code unit will compile again. Or alternatively, I can go and add a fully qualified name for just the reference I have here. So I'll have to do, of course, I'll have to do it for each of the references I have. And if you notice, I also have the possibility to run this code action on the entire file or the entire workspace. So that will be a way to help you convert your code quickly if you start using namespaces. So that's namespace, and even though we are in the From the Lab section, I'm pretty confident that we will ship this very soon. Actually, I heard that we just got it through our quality gates this week, so we're very, very close to have it in our master branch in the product.
Now move the object.
All right. So that was about namespace. That was one of the most requested feature, and it's coming our way. Now, Steffen showed you some of the things we could do with Copilot, and the feature he showed you in Copilot, the GitHub Copilot, was, as I mentioned before, you could say in the category of immersive AI features, because it was in line with the coding. It's immersive because it's proposing you some code snippets and some help while you are actually doing the coding. But as you recall, if you recall from the slides we had before on our AI vision, we have another type of experience with AI, which is a conversational experience, and that's what GitHub Copilot X is. So in this Visual Studio Code instance here, which by the way is the Insider version, if you want to play with this, you'll need to use the Visual Studio Insiders version. I have an extension here which is called GitHub Copilot Nightly, also known as GitHub Copilot X. And what is that? So I have also all the GitHub Copilot that Steffen showed you before. It's still there. I can still leverage these. But there's also a new icon here, which is a chat icon. And so this is a conversational part of AI. And what it does is actually I can talk to it and ask it questions about my code. So for example, I have a small code unit here, which takes a list of numbers in an array and iterates through the list in a while loop and add the numbers, right? But let's say, so the code is pretty obvious here, but let's assume the code is a little more complicated. But just for the sake of this example here, I'm going to ask Copilot here, what is this code doing? I don't even need to spell it right. It will figure out. So the code defines a code unit in a language and so on. It takes an array of 100 integers and sums it up. But wait, it says, however, there is a mistake in a while loop as the variable I is not incremented, which will cause an infinite loop. So not only can analyze my code and explain to me in natural language what it does, but it actually found a bug in it. So can you please, you don't need to say please, but I like to be polite with the thing. Anyway, could you please help me fix the bug? And here we go. So they're actually proposing me a fix to this bug, and if you notice, it adds actually the increment, which I forgot, and it also added an exit statement, which I also forgot. So I can go there, mark my code, and here I can go and say insert to snippet, and then I just replace the code it proposed into my editor pane, right? So obviously, I don't want to repeat that mistake, so can you help me write some unit tests for this? And here we go. Then it proposes me a unit test code that basically, as you can see, references my code units and creates an array with a list of number, and there's the expected sum here, and knows how the result should be. And there's a test add number in list, which is a unit test. So you'll see there are some pieces of this code which are not truly AL, but most of it will work. And I can go here and just say add as a new file, insert into new file, and then I get in my editor pane I get an entire new file with this test. So you get the idea. So pretty powerful things that you can do with Copilot X, or also known as Copilot Nightly, and it's already available today. You can, I think you need to sign up for the preview, and you need to, again, you need to install it in Visual Studio Code Insiders. So I'll hope you go and play with it. It's a lot of fun. So now I'm going to switch to a part of the From the Lab section, which is truly not in the product. Everything I showed before will be in the product very soon, or is already available. And talking about tests, there's of course unit tests. Unit test is always good, and I encourage you to write unit tests for your products, obviously. But there are some things which are hard to test through code and through unit tests, and a lot of tests are often have to be run manually. And we know that, and you've given us that feedback many times, and sometimes also you have been telling us you have a hard time keeping up with our release cycles because you have to run some tests, acceptance tests, especially on some of the new version. So we listened to that feedback and we got this idea, okay, well, it would be great if we could automate some of these manual tests. And we looked around at you might be familiar with, there are some products out there which you can buy that will automate the UI interaction and register, basically record the way you point and click in the browser and can replay what you're doing. And these are great products. There are many of them out there, and you feel free to use these products. But the problem with these is that they very often break as soon as you change the UI a little bit. If you just move things around, or even, for example, in our case, if you go and record something on the browser in the regular browser mode and want to test it in the tablet mode or in the phone mode, that will most likely break these tests. So we thought, why not build something where, because we know, internally in the platform, we have a great, UI platform where we have some logical representation of our pages, which we can leverage to build a great play and record tool. So that's what I'm going to show you now. So let's imagine I want to test a scenario where I create a new sales order and I want to validate that the sum of the lines I have in my sales order are actually correct. So I just go here in this page scripter, which is the actual recorder, and I'm going to start a new recording here. So I'll go over my sales order, and you see everything I'm doing now, you'll see on the right pane gets recorded as a step. So I'm creating a new sales order here, pick a customer. Let's pick, for example, this one. And let's add a couple of items here. So let's add one bicycle, for example, here. And a couple of wheels. It's better with a couple of wheels on a bicycle. All right. 2 wheels. Okay, so far so good. And so I have a total here, and you'll see here, if I right-click, I get a menu here saying page scripting, and I can go validate. Current value is 7,250, right? And that's it. I've recorded the tests. So I can stop the recording, and you see I have all the steps here. And what I can do now, I can go back where I started. You need to start from the same starting point, obviously. And I can just go and press play. And now the page scripter is running my script and executing the steps I have recorded before. And behind the scene, we actually generate some text file in YAML which you'll be able to get hold of and edit if you want to modify the scripts. So here we go. I've just run the steps, and it says the script completed without error. Now I can go and look at, for example, the validation here, and what you say is, I wanted to validate that the sum was 7,000 and something, but let's say I just change it to something else. And let me go back now and rerun the script. See what happens. So by the way, what you see now in this property window, you might have noticed is the PowerFX reference. What we are thinking of doing is adding the capability to write expression in there in PowerFX. PowerFX is a pretty powerful language that you might know from the Power Apps. And you see here, I got an error telling me that he was expecting 7,251, but I got 7,250. So that's how that's typically how a test that would fail, right? So that's it from the lab session. So again, this thing is work in progress. The page scripter, we haven't planned on when we are going to release it or if we are going to release it. But give us some feedback, and we'll see what we do with that. So thank you. So talking about the future and what's coming up, we always talk a little bit about what's coming in the next release, and we've shown you a lot of things about AI, but we also keep investing in other areas in the product, obviously. And these are a list of the many areas we are going to look at and do work on in the Wave 2, 2023 Wave 2. So you see there's a lot of things on collaboration and productivity, some things on the core ERP, and obviously we'll always look at performance and scale and make sure the product is more performant and scaling to more regions, and more customers. And Steffen showed you, and Evgenij showed you a lot of things about ease of implementation and integration. So we did a lot of areas you can look forward to in the next release. Also, something you want to look out for, we will announce very soon a developer certification for Business Central. So that might be relevant for you as a developer. If you are a seasoned developer, I think this certification will be really easy for you to get. If you're new to Business Central, well, you might learn a couple of things by taking that certification. So look out for this. We'll be announcing this very, very soon. And finally, I want to say a few words about where we are going with all that. We talk a lot about AI, and there's no doubt that business application will look different and will be built differently in the future. The AI revolution is not something which is happening. It has happened. It is there. I mean, if you haven't seen, I'm sure you have seen the press. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of hype around this, and we are committed to actually deliver a high-value feature with AI. And you've seen some of it already, and we try to give you a little bit of an idea of what we are planning on doing. But we are really only scratching the surface here. And Microsoft has a wide range of services and technologies that are already available for that. There's things like DALL-E, which is image generation AI. The picture I show you on the first slide of the presentation used actually DALL-E I used DALL-E to generate it. There's Codex, which is very good at understanding and generating code. Whisper for understanding and doing speech recognition. Actually, the page script I just showed you before, we also had a prototype. I couldn't demo it today because the microphone is not working very well in the presentation setup. But we made a prototype where we actually hooked up Whisper, and instead of typing the commands into the page scripter, you can actually talk to Business Central and have it, do things. Which is pretty cool as well. And it's very, very good at recognizing speech. Even with my French accents, it actually works. And ChatGPT, I'm sure you've played with it or you've heard about it at least. And GPT-4, which is like some of the best language models. So all of these services are available in Azure OpenAI. So we recommend that you start working with AI now, because again, the revolution is here, and there's already a lot of things you can do. Use Bing Chat, sign up for GitHub Copilot, get a key, go on Azure and get an API key, and explore the Azure AI tools. And there's this sample that we have published today, I believe, on the BC Tech repo that can get you started with AI. So we've published this extension to show you how you can start working with AI. So go and try it out. You'll see it's a lot of fun, and it's a totally new world that is opening up for us as developers. And before I let you go, I want to leave you with a quote from Ray Kurzweil. Ray Kurzweil is an American futurist and computer scientist. He wrote a book called The Singularity is Near. I believe it was published in 2019 or something, or no, maybe even before that. And the singularity, if you don't know what it is, singularity is the point in time where machines become as intelligent as humans. And he was saying that artificial intelligence will reach human levels by around 2029, and follow that out further, say 2024, we will have multiplied intelligence, the human biological machine intelligence of our civilization, a billionfold. Enjoy the rest of the conference.